And we are back with another modded Minecraft with Kiwi on version 1.7.10. Had a little bit of a glitch with the last video, so I will give a quick recap of the 5 to 6 minutes that I tried to record and failed at. So we added some glowstone to our garden. This will help keep mobs from spawning and hopefully provide a little bit of light. Looks really pretty from the map. And now let's go and start planning out the orchard. I might extend my interdiction torches. See, this was the first one, then I realized that my mic wasn't recording, my computer wasn't recording on the right scene.
You know how many life-saving drugs are invented in Canada? None. Because the government controls the price.
Well, Canadian laboratories have helped create some very
nothing like the miraculous drugs the American pharmaceutical industry has given to the entire world.
Given to the world? I guess you haven't seen their prices lately.
Not long ago, if you were HIV positive in this country,
Ooh, I forgot that there was a ravine down there.
that's thanks to the American pharmaceutical industry. In the 1970s, the most common cause of surgery was for ulcers. Now you get an ulcer, you take a pill. Is it an expensive pill?
This will help keep the garden a little bit more well lit,
But how does $1 a day sound?
or the orchard. But I think if I remember right, before I went swimming, said I was going to work on the house, not the garden. So
Much more expensive hospital bills? Yes.
put that there, that goes up there.
American pharmaceutical companies save us money, and they save lives,
And we're watching West Wing in the background.
Well, why should the pharmaceutical industry get protection that no other American industry gets? We can buy anything else from Canada. Why not prescription drugs?
Because Canadian price controls are not fair to
They're not
American.
fair. Is it fair that AIDS victims have been dying in Africa for years because drug companies have been protecting the public?
Drug makers have lowered their prices in Africa dramatically.
Only after we have pushed them to do it, and they're still not low enough to get to every person who really needs
People
it.
are not dying in Africa because of drug companies. They're dying because they don't have clean water supply, because they don't have a basic infrastructure for a health
Okay.
system, and because they have
This is going to be such an awesome little garden.
frequently prevent our health from
Pretty soon I will have the water supply in, which will be hidden underneath the
so that they can concentrate on building up their basic
paneling,
infrastructure instead of the
the half slabs.
burden of repaying loans.
But we were going to do
It's a nice idea, but it won't help. You'll just
red
normalize the reality that poor
cobble
countries can never repay their loans.
for the walls.
So we say that you're opposed to debt relief for impoverished countries. No, we should give this, but that's not going to help those countries very much. Okay. What about tax cuts?
I think I might actually use these types of the different colored stones and wool to do some pixel art at some point, because pixel art is always fun. Well, at least I think it's always fun. And since it's my world, you know, we'll go with that.
Roads, not anything. Poor African countries have the lowest wage workers in the world. And yet a company like Nike, for instance, can't build a factory in one of those countries because of the oppressive taxes. Taxes have killed any possibility of economic development. They killed any hope of these countries ever helping themselves. And that leaves them completely at the mercy of charity and loans.
I suppose I should probably
The worst part. You know why those
put
countries have such high
the
taxes?
flooring in for
Because of us.
this.
To show us that they can raise
You know, I
money,
really only
pay
need
back
to
their loans.
make the main room first, because I'm going to have a loft as my bedroom with this whole bottom floor as open for design.
If we
I think I'm going to put a big map on one wall as well. Maybe this back wall.
If we don't urge those countries to cut their tax rates, they will never
let's see.
grow their economy. People will live lifetimes of unemployment. Disease will be rampant. Poverty will be permanent. Children will be hungry. And our
Alright,
charity
I'm going to
will
go
never be enough.
one more.
Never.
Gentlemen, I'd like to come to the question of jobs right here at home. Congressman Sanders, an awful lot of people are afraid that their jobs are going to be outsourced to low-wage companies, or they're just going to be lost. Another round of belt-tightening at their companies. So what will you do to increase job security?
First, we already have a program called the Trade Adjustment Assistance Program, which provides job retraining
Aha.
to those workers who have lost their jobs in foreign trade. As president, I would add to that any workers who lose their jobs to outsourcing. My economic program and my plan to keep American workers competitive, to keep on building President Bartlett's extraordinary job record. And I think it will keep us on track to create a
I
million
think I'm
jobs.
going to have a little bit of, once I get up high enough, going to have a little bit of a second story and then go into the roof. So the loft area has a little bit
I'll cut jobs. I will reduce the number of
higher of.
I know
Go.
I'm supposed to tell you that my tax cuts will stimulate the economy and therefore create
So
jobs.
the roof goes up a little higher before I get into
Entrepreneurs create jobs. Business creates
building the
jobs.
roof.
President's job
Or
is
the
to
wall
build
goes a
the
little
roof.
high
Do you
before
want a
going
president
into the
who
roof.
will get out of their way when corrupt executives are plundering a company like Enron?
Hey, I'll go after corporate criminals. My running mate Ray Sullivan was very tough on white-collar crime when he was a prosecutor. My attorney general will be just as tough.
Do you want a president who will get out of the way when airline executives are putting their companies up to bankruptcy so that they can avoid pension responsibilities to the workers who have given their lives to these companies?
Some of our major and older airlines are having trouble meeting their huge pension obligations at the very same time that they're under
Clink.
intense competition from low-cost
I'll
airlines
go with
that are so new
spruce wood as well.
they don't yet have pensions to pay. Now, an unthinking liberal will describe the airline's bankruptcies as the evil capitalists screwing the
I
workers.
didn't say that, Senator. I don't think you should put words on it.
No, I know you didn't say it. You're not an unthinking liberal, are you?
I know you like to use that word liberal as if it were a
No,
crime.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have used that word. I know Democrats think liberal is a bad word. So bad you had to change it, didn't you? What do you call yourselves now? Progressive?
It's true. Republicans have tried to turn liberal into a bad word. Well, liberals ended slavery.
3, 4, 5, 6.
Republican president ended slavery.
Yes. A liberal Republican. What happened to them? They got run out of your party. What did liberals do that was so offensive to the Republican Party? I'll tell you what they did. Liberals got women the right to vote. Liberals got African Americans the right to vote. Liberals created Social Security and lifted millions of elderly people out of poverty. Liberals ended segregation. Liberals passed the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act. Liberals created Medicare. Liberals passed the Clean Air Act, the Clean Water Act. What did conservatives do? They opposed every one of those programs. Every one. So when you try to hurl that
Time to
word
sleep.
liberal at my feet as if it were something dirty, something to run away from, something that I should be ashamed of, it won't work, Senator, because I will pick up that label and I will wear it as a badge of honor.
It is.
And Senator White, when we try gun control, do we need more of it?
No, the Constitution gives us the right to bear arms. It's not up to the president to choose which law-abiding citizens the Constitution applies to.
I think we should forget about more gun control. What we need is bullet control. That's right. There are at least 200 million guns in this country. I don't agree with that. We cannot control the supply of guns, but we can control the supply of ammunition. Buying bullets shouldn't be easier than buying a plane ticket. We should license, purchase, handgun ammunition, there should be a clear record, an ID record, of every purchase of handgun ammo in the 21st century.
Alright,
Homicide
and
detectives should be able to trace every fired bullet back to the buyer in minutes.
Gentlemen, let's turn to energy. We have seen record high gasoline prices this year. Now, is this a glimpse of an even worse future if we don't adopt a policy that allows us to meet our energy needs at reasonable prices?
Well, obviously, it is time for us to get really serious about developing alternative energy sources and stop letting the oil companies dictate our energy policy for us while they rack up
Here you
record
go
high
again,
profits.
the Democratic Party line. Attack big business. Attack
I'm
the
not
oil
attacking the oil companies.
Yes, you are.
Look, Arnie, I understand that the oil companies have given a lot of money to your
Oh, wait, so I'm their puppet. Huh? Is
six,
that what you're saying? They own me?
Gentlemen, let's get back to
No,
the
no. He doesn't get to snoop me and then move on.
I didn't say
Gentlemen,
That's exactly what you're trying to do.
Gentlemen, let's just take a break.
No, let's talk about the vote. Right now. He raised it. I think I have a right to respond.
All right, sir, go ahead.
I disclosed the name of every one of the 220,000 people who have contributed to my campaign. There are no secrets about what my campaign money comes from. Now, some of my contributors work for oil companies. Liberals want you to think that's evil. They want you to think you can't be a good American if you work for an oil company.
I've got relatives working all over the oil fields of Texas. I am just saying that your positions on energy, Senator, are exactly what the oil companies want to hear, which is why they've given so much money to your campaign.
And your positions on spending, on creating more government jobs, they're exactly what the public employee unions want to hear, and that's why they poured money into your campaign. You want to talk about conflict of
Well,
interest?
who's throwing cheap accusations
Well,
around?
Gentlemen, I'm going to have to stop it
Well,
right
I'm
there.
just
But,
trying to-
Senator,
alright.
now,
Sure.
Congressman Sanders, you have said that we have to reduce our dependence on foreign oil. So why not agree to drill in Alaska's Arctic National Wildlife Refuge?
Because we cannot drill our way to energy independence. There's only about a year's worth of oil underneath there. I don't think that's worth disrupting a million years of ecological balance and a unique and spectacular wilderness. That ecosystem is much more valuable than the oil that's underneath it. The pathway to a better, more sustainable energy future does not go through the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge.
Senator, a year's worth of oil, it sounds like a lot to me. And there could be more there. There could be much more. I mean, we'll never know until we get in there and start drilling. This isn't the Grand Canyon we're talking about here. How many people have been to the Grand Canyon? If they discovered big oil reserves in the Grand Canyon, I would never let them drill them because that's our most magnificent natural monument. And because real people get to go there. They get to see it, they get to touch it, they get to experience it in all its glory. Now we're talking about a country that has oil wells within sight of the beautiful beaches of Santa Barbara.
Okay.
With oil wells within sight of every Texas beach. There are thousands of operating oil wells in the city of Los Angeles. I saw an oil well in the parking lot for McDonald's in Long Beach just the other day. The Democrats are saying we can't put oil wells in a place so remote that only animals would see them. I wish we could put all our oil wells there where no one will ever see them.
Honey, the only flaw with that logic,
is that it does horrible things to the environment.
yes.
And there's a little thing called tides.
Yeah.
So even if you only had like 10% spillage or 10% prop,
What to do with the radioactive
It would still be
waste?
horrible for
yeah.
Power is
everything.
a completely safe, dependable energy source. Of course, we should feel
Completely safe. Look, I don't want to be an alarmist here, but there are plenty of obvious safety concerns. That's why we stopped building them. The government should be supporting the development of alternative energy sources and all of the new technologies like solar power, wind power, all of the other new, safer alternatives to nuclear power.
How about that, Senator? Government support of alternative energy sources.
I don't trust politicians to choose the right new energy sources.
There
I
we
believe
go.
in the free market.
Start
The
transferring
government
the
didn't
stuff.
switch us from whale oil to the oil found under the ground. The market did that. The government didn't make the Prius the hottest selling car in Hollywood. That was the market that did that. You know, in LA now, the coolest thing you could drive is a hybrid. Well, if the free market can do that in the most car-crazed culture on earth, then I trust the free market to solve our energy problems. You know, the market has the power to change the way we think, to change what we want.
Move the bed.
The government can't do that. That's why the market has always been a better problem solver than the government. And it always will be.
While you're trusting the market, we're burning fossil fuels more and more every day, and global warming is melting the polar
The
ice
same
caps.
people who told us we're going to run out of oil by the end of the 20th century are now trying to scare us with global warming.
Glass.
Serious?
A glass bottle.
Yeah, global warming theory, that's all it is.
You don't think that there is a consensus going about
All
that
they're
global
talking
warming is
about is
melting
the
the polar ice
increase
caps?
of 1 degree in the Earth's
I cannot believe that you're saying that.
Here we go.
I don't understand.
Gentlemen,
Absolutely.
we're running short of time. And I would like to ask one final question on energy. We're going to be dependent on foreign energy sources for quite some time. So what can you do to assure a dependable supply of oil, Congressman?
Still haven't figured out how to do connected textures.
Because it is the most important part of my energy policy. I will never go to war for oil.
Please.
And I would like to invite Senator Vinnick to join me in that pledge.
Alright.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you like to listen to yourselves applaud, or would you like to listen to the candidates speak? Please, Senator.
It's ridiculous to suggest that we would ever have to go to war to assure our oil supply. Oil is a commodity. It's traded on the world market. You don't have to shoot anyone to get it. You just have to pay for it.
There.
And by the way, all right, you know who our biggest supplier of foreign oil is? No, wrong. Canada. So let's stop the hysterical talk about the evils of foreign oil.
If it's ridiculous to even think of going to war for oil, then join me in my pledge.
No, that would be like going to war for sugar. You want to take a pledge against that too? You know, the oil exporting companies, the countries who export oil,
There we
they
go.
have to sell
I always like my
supply.
crafting tables on the floor.
They feed us.
It's just
They
easier.
couldn't cut us off if
And I
they
can walk
wanted to.
across them and they don't
Join
take
me
up
in the
space.
pledge then.
Or way up high. Like I had it at the other base.
Any pledge other than the oath of office.
Gentlemen, we
Come
have
respond.
just a very few minutes left now. Would you like to use that for your closing statement?
What, honey?
I like it. According to coin toss, the first closing statement is from Congressman Santos.
Well, Senator Vinnick was eager to take a pledge about taxes, but now taking a pledge about anything else is beneath the dignity of the presidency. Now, to his credit, the senator is very honest about the fact that he has no health care plan, no education plan, no jobs plan, no energy plan. All he has is a tax plan. After he cuts taxes, what's he going to do for the next 4 years? Tax cuts are not a magic wand that you can wave at every problem. Senator Vinnick was very quick to attack my plans, but the presidency is about more than saying no, no, no. You have to say yes to something. You have to do something.
Whoops.
We don't have time for me to remind you of every policy difference that you've heard here. But when you go to work tomorrow and you're talking about this debate, talk about the qualities that you want in a president. The leadership qualities. Ask yourselves, is Matt Santos the kind of guy who's going to give up on the promises that he's made to you tonight because it's going to be too tough to get them done? Talk about what it was like for Matt Santos to go from where he was baptized 45 years ago in San Antonio to where he's standing tonight. Ask yourselves what it takes to do that. And then ask yourselves if you're ready
Alright.
to give Matt Santos the presidency of the United States.
No, I don't like that. I'm going to move it back a little bit.
Senator Vinnick, your closing statement.
First of all, I want to thank Matt for agreeing to drop the rules and letting us have a real debate tonight. What you've heard,
Our first night in our real home,
policy differences,
even though it's not finished yet.
philosophies of government. I believe both of us want what's best for this country. We just have different ideas about how to get there. I think it's fair to say that Matt has more confidence in government than I do. I have more confidence in freedom. Your freedom. Your freedom to choose your child's school. Your freedom to choose the car or truck that's right for you and your family.
What's that?
Your freedom to save or spend your hard-earned money instead of having the government spend it for you. Listen, I'm not anti-government. I just don't want any more government than we can afford. We don't want government doing things it doesn't know how to do, doing things the private sector does better. We're throwing more money at failed programs because that's exactly what makes people lose faith in government. And all of us, Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives, we all want a government we can believe in. We all want a government that doesn't make
I think
false
it needs to be
promises.
back
A
one
government
more
that
step.
doesn't
What do you guys
overreach,
think?
that doesn't take on more than it can handle. An efficient, effective, honest
I
government.
still need to have my wall right here.
The choice in this election comes down to this.
Going into this room over here.
Or do we want to get control of government? To govern is to choose. And the choices are never easy. That takes experience. Mature judgment. That's what the presidency needs now, more than ever. And that's why I asked you to give me your vote.
Okay.
So that I can give you the government you were promised by the founding fathers.
Oh, that actually looks really neat. So let's try doing it this way.
Senator Bennett. Senator Bennett, Congressman Santos, our thanks to you both. Ladies and gentlemen, that is our debate. Thank you for watching. Good night.
One more spruce plank. Honey, when are you going to start dinner?
I'm making it? I thought you were making it.
No, that wasn't what our agreement was for this weekend.
No, it wasn't. Are you recording?
Yes?
I'm sorry.
Alright. That looks really good. I'm happy with that staircase. Now let's take the bed upstairs. Oops. Alright, and bed. Let me see these real quick. Did you see what I've gotten done so far, honey?
Not yet. I am curious. Is this what I use? Is this what I use for macaroni and cheese, or?
No, you use milk, butter, flour.
I don't know how to do all that. Can I reheat red sauce, or is your stomach feeling upset?
Actually, that sounds delicious. Red sauce and pasta.
Do you want me to use the shredded mozzarella or the whole mozzarella?
Shredded's fine.
And what about pasta? You have any preference?
No. And we are at 24 minutes, so let's go ahead and go back to the map. And our house is coming along rather nicely. We have our bed shows up right there now. Our stairwell right there. And it is coming along rather nicely. Still have to naturalize the edges. I think I'm going to use TNT. TNT using sounds fun. Right. So that is our video. If you liked it, give me a like, subscribe, toss me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Have a great night. Happy 4th of July.